Good morning, and thank you for clicking on this video. First, I want to start by reading Matthew 6:33. This is the NIV version. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Let me just finish it out. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So that was 33 and 34. I'm going to read that again. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I'm going to read the study notes. To seek first his kingdom and his righteousness means to turn to God first for help, to fill your thoughts with his desires, to take his character for your pattern, and to serve and obey him in everything. What is really important to you? People, objects, goals, and other desires all compete for priority. Any of these can quickly bump God out of first place if you don't actively choose to give him first place in every area of your life. All right, so just want to throw that scripture in there and start with that. So, okay, this is my follow-up to the video that says prepare your daughter, and the inspiration behind that was that video where the girl was in front of the church, talking about being pregnant. Now, that church has received some social media backlash. I really don't agree with the backlash, and I also don't agree with what the church did, but that's here nor there. My point was, prepare your daughter and, have a lot of conversations about, what she's going through at her age and just the world around her. Because my belief about teenage pregnancy is that if you're really going to freak out about that, and if that's something that's a big concern, maybe do some things to try and prevent that in the first place. So first, I want to say, I don't really think that people in high school under 18 should date at all, like males or, boys or girls. It's just kind of pointless. It doesn't really usually it doesn't really turn into anything significant, and if there is a significant connection there, I feel like it can wait until both parties are 18. With the state of the world today, honestly, I think that maybe it can even be pushed back to 20, honestly, just because there is a lot of carelessness and thoughtlessness and recklessness with other people's emotions and feelings. And so, I don't see a reason to really subject anyone or yourself to that, at a young age. And again, if there is a real genuine connection, it can wait until people are a little bit more mature and can make plans about what they want to do with that relationship and that connection. That's just me. Now, secondly, if people want to be, pro-life, meaning anti-abortion, they really need to discuss birth control. So, be educated as far as birth control. Don't be shy about it. Be comfortable about it. And just remember, you can always get condoms at Walgreens, or CVS or wherever, Keep them in your purse if you're dating. It's not a bad thing just to have. Because when you are abstaining, it's a completely different set of circumstances if you're not seeing anyone than when you are. So, just be prepared. And also, I feel like children and young people need to be taught to say no. To say, no, I don't want to go over there. No, I don't want to get in your car. No, I don't want you touching me. I really feel like young people, particularly women, but, boys and girls, need to just be prepared and empowered in that way. Okay, now, at this point in history in the United States of America, I would say that marriage is not really a part of the mainstream culture. It is not a given. I think that it is more of a part of Christian culture, and that's the Christian standard, but it is not the standard in general for the United States of America. So if you are a Christian, particularly a woman, just keep that in mind. That is your standard. That is not the cultural standard of America. So before you really get involved, I would say definitely take your time and try and figure out who you're dealing with, before you invest a lot of time and emotion, just because, again, uh, marriage is, I would say, is a part of Christian culture and a Christian standard. If you follow Christ, that's probably your standard and where you think things should go. But again, it is not the general cultural standard. So just, take your time to see where this other person's head is. And let me tell you what, even when you're like talking to like people in church and stuff, they may not really even have that standard. It may not be real important to them either. So just keep that in mind. Now, social media. The reason why I am even making this video, I really hate a lot of like social media dating advice. I just feel like there's too much of it. It's toxic. It's not productive. However, I feel like people who are believers in Christ should probably talk about it a little bit more. So here I am. Now, these social media commentators and like various schools of thought, I feel like some of them really speak a lot of truth, but it's not the entire truth. Even the ones that I hate, like a lot of the manosphere people and stuff like that, even they, to a certain degree, speak some truth. Um, but for the most part, I don't feel like they really, I can't say that they speak the truth. But then there's people such as, like, I'll be honest, Shira Seven. I don't feel like she lies. I feel like she speaks the truth. However, again, it's not the whole truth, because I do feel like she kind of dehumanizes people, and she's very, very focused on money, which, I'll be honest, is not a bad thing to focus on, because you can kind of tell how much someone cares about something or someone based on how much money they're spending on it. So it's not a bad barometer. And I even heard a male pastor say that once, flat out, in a Sunday service. He said, if he's not spending any money on you, he does not love you. So yeah, there's that. So you just need to take all of this with a grain of salt. It's easier to do that when you're older. That's why I say, like, when you're young, you may just want to keep things kind of platonic, especially like when you're in high school and stuff. So let's see, I already talked about the manosphere. Like, a lot of these feminist content creators, I kind of take issue with them because they don't acknowledge, a lot of them don't acknowledge that they benefit from what they're complaining about, which is, like, quote, the patriarchy. So it's kind of hard to take a lot of them seriously, because there's one in particular that's a housewife. A couple of them, are married women. There's one who, again, like, real nice looking girl. She benefits from, like, the patriarchy because of what she looks like. She just kind of like fits into like the beauty standards of someone who would like fit into, who would benefit from the patriarchy, but she's like against it. But I'm like, I don't even know if this girl like works or anything. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to take them seriously. A lot of these people that talk about being like child free, they really come across as a little bit crass and weird. If you don't want to have children, that's certainly fine, but I do think it's weird the way that they talk about it. It's pretty easy to avoid getting pregnant, so I don't think that it's anything to be doing backflips about. Let's see. There's a group called the Divestors. I mean, they also make good points. But in 2025, in America, this is a multicultural society. People are going to meet, develop relationships, possibly marry, etc., etc. It's not a big deal. I do not understand why it's a big deal. My issue with the Divestors was that they put other races of men, these are mostly black women talking, they put them up on a pedestal too much for me. I personally don't feel like I, as a black woman, need to be putting a white man, Hispanic man, Middle Eastern man up on some pedestal. I don't feel like I necessarily need to be putting a black man up on a pedestal too, but I don't know. That was my issue with the divestors. They did come across as dingbats a little bit, and some of them are like borderline MAGA, and some of them I think were MAGA troll accounts. Now, hashtag Black Love, honestly, the same thing. Black women, I feel like, need to stop that. The whole energy behind Black Love is like, ooh, look, we got one. Oh, look, one of them likes us. And I'm just like, I don't know. It just seems a little bit like desperate in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, there's that, but I mean, I get it. I do. I get it. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. Um, so yeah, again, when you're young, personally, like in high school, I say don't date at all. That's been my opinion for a long time. If I had children, that's what I would advise. Even now, seeing how much hostility and how much tension there is between men and women and this lack of understanding, I would say maybe even push it back to like 20 or so, especially for women. Let's see, next bullet point, educate yourself on birth control, especially if you live in a state like mine that has, God, I don't even know what happened. Like, I think that they've outlawed abortions, but then the voters changed it here in Missouri. But I think the governor maybe did something else. I don't know. It's very confusing at this point. But anyway, just educate yourself on birth control. Um, Oh, and learn how to set your own boundaries and verbalize your boundaries. Like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to go there. No, I don't want you touching me there. No, I don't want to kiss. And just learn how to set boundaries and, speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself. Keep in mind that marriage, it's a part of Christian culture. I would say that is the Christian standard between men and women. It's not the world standard anymore. So if you are a believer in Christ and that's your standard, understand that you're not really dealing with people who are on the same page for the most part. So just, really take your time and figure out who you're dealing with and where their head is on the matter. And from a woman's point of view, uh, don't accept like wishy-washy responses. If you ask, so what are your feelings on this, that, and the other, and you get some kind of like murky response like, oh, I'm kind of up for anything at this point, I'm very open. Da, da, da. No. No, I mean, get a definitive response, where there is no gray area, because again, that's just kind of how you have to conduct yourself with people, because people these days like to take advantage of the gray area, and there's a lot of gray area these days. So again, like all the social media chatter, really, to all these people, there is some truth to what they're saying, but it's never the whole truth. And almost all these people are kind of dehumanizing or a little bit weird or something like that. Some of them I think are flat out lying. Some of them I think are not real self-aware. Um, yeah. Oh, another thing about Shira 7. She's probably my favorite, and I do feel like she speaks truth. However, I do think it's dehumanizing to be that focused on money, because I mean, ultimately, a relationship is going to have to be more than just that. Now, she's been married for a long time, so there is some success there, and she is. I've seen her with her children. She's a very sweet lady, very loving lady. But just to be totally focused on money. See, like, here's the thing: some people have a lot of money, so it's not a big deal for them to like spend money on you. So I mean, at some point, it's just like, okay, so are you just kind of like prostituting yourself? I mean, there has to be some respect. There has to be love. there has to be, some human feeling. So, you know, don't get dehumanized by social media. A lot of these feminists online, I think they're a little bit weird, and I think they are a little bit two-faced. I mean, they speak one way, but then they do something else. And some of them I feel like directly benefit from the patriarchy that they complain about, but then they get in front of a bunch of other people, and some of them directly appeal to people who don't benefit as much. So it's just kind of like, consider all the variables and consider your own variables, because it is about you and your life. And sometimes I think you need to get, just a little bit older just to understand that, as opposed to, just, you know, a teenager or whatever. And we'll go back over all of these different kinds of these schools of thoughts, like, the divestors, hashtag Black Love. I mean, I get both of them, but they're both like kind of dingbats. So there is that. And yeah, consider your own variables, be smart. And yeah, I said on a short once that I believe that most relationships fail because the man never truly loved the woman in the first place. It takes time to really know for certain, but make sure that the man really loves you, and he thinks that you are special. And I gotta go pretty soon. But let's see. For many years, I worked in a jewelry store in that business for about like 8 years, either on a part time or full time basis. And something that I did learn is and observed is that people like date and marry who they're compatible with. So, you got to find your match. All this talk about high value and low value, again, it's very dehumanizing. It's about meeting your match. And when I was working in jewelry stores, I noticed that a lot of the couples shopping for engagement rings, they were people who matched each other very well as far as temperament, the way they presented themselves, the way they spoke, a lot of things. And it's just kind of like, really sweet people were with really sweet people, people who were kind of arrogant, were with other people who were kind of arrogant, people who were kind of intellectual were with people who were kind of intellectual. So, yeah, it's all a matter of meeting your match. And all of these women that, the manosphere likes to say are low value and have no chance, I've seen every last one of those women in jewelry stores shopping for engagement rings with their guy. Every last one. Every last one. I mean, the single moms that they hate, overweight, loud, kind of a hoochie, and, all of that. Not that cute, old, married multiple times. I've seen all of it. So, yeah, seek God first. Seek God first. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So do that. Be prepared, be mature in your decisions, and be smart and take your time, and just understand that the way that you think as a Christian woman is really not the way that the world thinks. If you're a Black woman watching this, understand that there's a lot of kind of like hostility in the world towards Black women. So yeah, I'm gonna go before I start like rambling too much, because I got to go to work, but I just really wanted to do this. I hate talking about dating advice, but I really do think that Christians should talk about it a little bit more, but not like that stupid podcast, My Future Wifey. I mean, that's just stupid. And same thing with TD Jake's daughter. I'm not really impressed with her either. Anyway, gotta go. Bye.